welcome back to Build Your Own BPOS. We've got another great lesson for you here on points and points profiles. Now this lesson is more or less a continuation from the last one on accounts because points are very closely related to accounts, and as I mentioned several times in that last lesson, we'd be saving points for their own lesson here. So what we'll be doing here today is comprehensively going through just about all of our points and points profile related settings. So by the end of this lesson, you should know just about everything there is to know about how to set up a reward point system along with some other useful points information. However, I should preface with a note regarding third-party interfaces and integrations. As I mentioned in the last lesson on accounts, integrations and interfaces are one of the common uses of accounts in BPOS, particularly in regards to points systems. This lesson, though, will only be focusing on our core point settings, not any specific information regarding any interfaces or integrations, since many of those would require their own lessons and are simply just outside of the scope of this course. There are a couple notes that I'll include regarding interfaces and integrations as we get to some of the configuration options, though, really just some best practice type of info. Anyway, all that being said, we will still cover quite a bit in this lesson. We'll begin with some general information about points and points profiles, and we'll go in depth into the configurations that are involved throughout back office. After we've got an understanding of those configurations, we'll also go through some examples so we can see the effects of setting things up in a few different ways. Now for those examples, I've cheated a little bit, but it's to save us some time so that you don't have to sit through me clicking through and changing all the point settings around again and again. So you'll see what I mean when we get to those. And we will finish up with some other points considerations, some other points, if you will. Just a few additional points related things that can optionally be used in an overall point system, or in some cases certainly would be used in an overall point system. But anyway, something a bit different here. I've got some slides that I had used in the past for other training sessions on points, so I figured I'd use them as a visual aid for us in this Build Your Own BPOS lesson. So first off, you may be wondering, as this person is here on this slide, what are points in BPOS? What's the point of points? They're not too different here from what you'd probably expect, and similar to other point systems out there where customers can, quote unquote collect and then quote unquote cash in their points. So points intended use in BPOS is as part of a customer loyalty program where account holders can earn points through purchases, and a couple different ways that we'll see later. But by and large, the points can be earned through purchases, and then they can be redeemed for products. They can also be redeemed for cash, but we'll get into that later as well. The main purpose is to earn through purchases, redeem for products. Of course, other uses may come into play for third-party integrations and interfaces, but again, we will not be discussing those today. Now, if you've ever been a member in a loyalty rewards program, I'm sure that most of us have, you'll know that point accumulation and values can seem somewhat arbitrary sometimes, although there is undoubtedly a heavy dose of analysis and effort that has gone into developing the points rates of accrual and redemption. The value of points in these programs is set by the relationship between the earn and redeem percentages. And in BPOS, we can set things up in such a way that points earn at one rate, but redeem at a different rate. So maybe an account needs to spend $10 for every 1 point earned, but those points are then redeemed at a rate where 10 points is equivalent to only $1. The wash up of that is that an account holder needs to spend $100 for $1 worth of points. And as I pointed out in the last lesson when we were going through the account settings in the system, we have a variety of points rates that can factor into a system's overall points program. There are point settings at the global level, the venue level, the store level, the till level, and at the account level. A valid question then might be, why are there so many different levels of points percentage settings, so these point rate settings? Well, considering that the true value of a point begins with the points profile, which is at the global level, and is then refined by the other earn and redemption values, having these different levels and layers of point settings just allows for more customized, more multi-dimensional points programs to be set up. So the amount of points that an account holder is awarded for a given purchase or will need to use for redemption largely depends on their account settings. Now that's because each account can have specified points profiles assigned separately for earning and redemption, by the way, which those can increase or decrease the number of points that are awarded to them and then are going to be required for redemption since they can be separate. Now, on top of the points profiles that are being used at the account level, the venue can also have a points earned percentage to factor in, and that's going to be calculated with the points profile that's being used to determine the overall points earned for a purchase. And the venue can have a points redeem percentage set, which will factor in to determine the number of points that are required for redemption in that venue. Similarly, there's also a store level setting for redemption and till level configurations for earn and redeem points profiles, which will all calculate together to determine the overall points that are needed for dollar redemption and the points that an account holder will earn per dollar spent in each transaction, as that's calculated depending on all of the settings involved. There is a lot to cover, but we will see it all in back office in a minute, and I'll break it down in a way that hopefully makes a bit of sense. But at the end of the day, what all of these settings means is that we can tailor points rates for different venues, different stores, different tills, and even different accounts. So I mentioned points profiles several times there, and it's important to reiterate their importance. Now, because they sit at the global level, a points profile is going to set the base level of points that are going to be used for either earning or redeeming points. That foundation of points percentages can be set per product sort or product type, meaning that different product sorts or types can have different points percentages built into a points profile. That enables some products, by way of their sort or type, to be excluded from point systems altogether, or the opposite, in that some products may award more points than others, or some products may require more points than others when to be redeemed. Now, because of the flexibility and customization that we can provide with sorts and types, point systems can be really tailored to an organization's needs at this base level. Now, as mentioned, points profiles can then be allocated to accounts and to tills, again, separately for earning and redemption, which means that if we really want to get specific, some products can earn points at one rate, but then require a different rate for redemption, and can all be different from other products, since, as I mentioned, these are set per sort or type. Now, assigning these points profiles at the till level means that even within the same store, we could have certain tills that earn and redeem different points rates. So maybe a till in a VIP area that earns double points on products that belong to a particular product type, but also by assigning points profiles to an account group or directly to an account, we can override a till's points profile setting if we want an account to always use the same points profile as their base level of earning and redeeming points. So without further ado, let's head into back office. We'll start taking a look at all of these settings and hopefully make a bit more sense of it all. Alright, first things first, points profiles can be found in the System Setup menu, and when the points profiles window opens, it will have one active. Now, by default, this points profile pull down, drop down here is going to be sorted alphabetically, so the top one is what will be selected initially. In the case of a new database here though, where we haven't added any yet, we will have this default points profile. We will just start with this one and we'll configure it from scratch. So the first thing to note is that we can choose to set up a points profile using either the system's product types or the product sorts. Changing that is as simple as selecting the other radio button, and we can see that those have changed dynamically down here. I'll just change that back. Just depends on how we'd like to configure the profile, and obviously we can create multiple points profiles per database, so we could have some that use types and some that use sorts if we would like to do that. Second thing to note, probably the most obvious, and is something that I alluded to earlier, is that all of the percentages can be set separately per type or per sort. Now by default, all the percentages are originally set to 0, so we do need to set them to something so that we have some rates for the system to use for earning and redeeming points. Although we can leave some sorts or types at 0 if we do not want them to earn points or to be able to be redeemed for points. But anyway, for setting these, if the majority of all the types or sorts are going to be the same, there is an easy way to do it. It's this set all percentages option here. Now by default, that will be at 100. So we'll just go with that to get started here. Very, very simple. Actually, I might set them all to something just to help with explaining how this works. Let's go with setting them all to 77%. So when this points profile is used like this, all products are going to weigh the same. So in other words, $100 that's spent on bulk soft drinks here, any of the products that belong to that type, will earn 77 points, and so will $100 that are spent on spirits and cocktails. And redemption rates work similarly, but in that case we'd be setting the rate of points needed to redeem. So here 0.77 of a point would be redeemed for $1. The caveat to all of that being that the other points percentages throughout the system, which factor in to calculate the final points earned and redeemed in a given transaction, would all need to be set at 100% for those examples to be true. But at the base global level, that will hold true when this points profile, the one that's been set up like this, is being adhered to. On that, I should note that it's recommended to set the points profile percentages for the profile that's going to be assigned for redemption to 100%. Now, having separate points profiles, or having the ability to have separate points profiles assigned for earning and redeeming points, so separate one for earning versus redeeming, was implemented for an integration with a third-party system. So there may be some cases where an integration or interface is being used and a redeem profile needs to have its percentages set differently than all 100%, but by and large, like I said, the recommendation is to have the percentages set for the profile that's going to be used for redemption to 100%. But anyway, what I might do here is change the profile name to default redeem profile, and I'll set all the percentages back to 100%. There we go. And then what I'll do is I will add a new profile for earning points. I will be prompted to save the changes here. Now for this new profile, I will call this one BYOB Earn. By the way, I know I mentioned that we do have the ability to have different profiles set for earning and redemption, so it probably goes without saying, but I'll mention it anyway, that we could use the same profile for both earning and for redemption. But since we do have the ability to set them separately, I'm adding separate ones here for our demonstration. Now, in your system, of course, feel free to configure these and create however many points profiles you need. I will set all of these maybe to 50%, so that for every $1 spent, we'll earn half a point. That seems fair. And keep in mind also that these can be set to rates over 100, so maybe a profile being used for redemption will be set to 200%, for example, or have some of the sorts or types set to 200%. Now, since we do have up to 30 of either sorts or types, whichever we're using for a points profile, it gives us a lot of flexibility with being able to cater to different circumstances or needs. So maybe rather than have all of these be the same, we might want to have it so that something like wines can earn points at double the rate compared to the other products, so maybe they will be set to 100%. But even aside from singling out just one product type or sort, we could set these to all different percentages if we wanted to. And if there's any product types that we do not want to earn any points at all, maybe retail for example, we could just set those to 0. But when we are all done with configuring the points profile percentages, whether they are for types or for sorts, when we're done configuring all those to whichever percentages we would like to, just go Save Profile, and we will then be able to assign them to accounts and to tills. So let's go with an account first. Actually, I'll do an account group. We will go with our Tier 1A. By setting this at the account group level, any accounts that are then using the Use Group Settings flag will adopt the points profile from the group. Then maybe since we've got different account tiers here in this database, Tier 1, 2, and 3, and we've got sub-tiers for Tier 1, the other tiers could have their own points profiles that earn and redeem points at different rates. I will need to turn this off for this group so that it's not using its parent group settings. But for accounts, we can separately control whether or not they can earn and redeem points. If we enable both of these, there's then some additional setups for each. Now, notice that we also have an option here at the account level for the earn profile that says Use Till Profile. So we would want to put that on for an account group or account if we do not want them to use some individualized points profile, and we do just want them to use whichever points profile has been assigned to a till, or whichever earn profile has been assigned to a till. Another way to look at that is that if we set this to anything other than Use Till Profile, we will be overriding a till's earn points profile setting and defining one that will always be used for the accounts in this group in this example. But I will just leave this as is, and we will set our earn profile at the till level. But just so you're aware, we can override the earn profile here. You'll also notice that we've got a button here for configuring an account's redeem points profiles. So this lets us actually set different points profiles per store for each account, or in this case for an account group, which again will then be handed down to its accounts if they are using group settings. But this really allows us to customize points programs to an even higher degree. So we might go ahead and have multiple points profiles created, and then here at the account level, or the account group level I should say, we could set different ones for each store in the venue if we did want to get that exact and distinct. But to keep things relatively simple for us though, I will just go ahead and I will add a redeem store profile for our main restaurant, and I will just set that to use the default one that I created for redeeming. Remember, those are all set to 100% for all of the product types in that points profile, and we can go ahead and exit that when we have that set. But wait, there's more. We also have these earn and redeem percentages, which will also factor into the overall points earn and redeem calculations for each account, which allows us to take those global level points profiles that we have set, whether they are set here for the account or if we're using the tills profiles. But regardless of which points profile is being used as the basis, since that sits at the global level, we can then scale those points profiles up or down for an account using these percentage fields here to set different rates. So yeah, whereas the points profiles allow for fine-tuning points rates to different product sorts and types if need be, these then allow us to scale those rates per account or per account group if we need to. So what I'll do here is I'll set the redeem points to 100% for that rate. And we've already got the earn points percent set to 100%. I will update the pricing policy here too. I'll give them the account price, and I'll leave the pricing type as none there. And I'll just go ahead and save this. Now for our account holder BYOB, I will set them to use group settings, and we can see here that they will now be earning and redeeming points, and they've got the points percentages, those rates set there, and we will have that redeem profile that's been set there at the account group level also has been being passed down to BYOB. Alright, so if I save that and we head to our venue, stores, and tills list, we can see where points profiles can be set for a till. So that is going to be from the till setup. If we look at the right side of our screen here in this little default section, among these are going to be default points profiles where we can set both a redeem profile and an earn profile separately. Or we can leave them as none if we do not want transactions from a particular till to be able to earn or redeem points. But we can set them as needed. I will just assign our defaults here, the ones that I've created, the BYOB earn and the default redeem profile. I should point out that whatever's set for an account store redeem profile, which we just set over at the account group level, if there is one set there, will override any till level redeem profile that's being set here. But if the account does not have one set for the store, of course the store that the till is in, the redeem profile that is set here is what is going to be used. Now, in case I've worded that wrong or maybe over-explained, the account level settings, if they're set for earn and redeem points profiles, will override the earn and redeem points profiles that are set here for a till, if there are any set for a till, or if they're set to none and there are some set for the account level will override. But yeah, that's just those two settings there for the till level point settings. Relatively straightforward. It's very nice that we can set different profiles for different tills if we'd like to, and again that we can set them differently for earning and for redeeming. But we do have a few other point settings which factor into the overall points earn and redeem rates. Remember, these are, even though we're setting these at the till level here, because they're the points profiles which sit at the global level, they're the base rates that are going to be used per sort or type. So by taking whichever profile is being used, we can then scale it further per venue or store. So aside from the points profiles themselves and whichever ones are assigned to a till or to an account, which lays the foundation for points being earned and redeemed, we do have separate percentages that can be set for venues and stores. So I'll save this and we'll start with the venue. The venue level here is going to be next in the hierarchy, so to speak, after the points profile, which is being used. Since, again, points profiles are applied at the global level, even though they're assigned at the account or till level, they are at the global level. But anyway, for earning points at the venue level, we have our points earned percent here. And this can be set from anywhere from 0 to 99,999.99%. Believe me, I've tried it. By the way, if a venue's points earned percent is set to 0, points will not be earned in that venue. So that, we can turn that off per venue in multi-venues if we'd like to. If there's a particular venue that we do not want to be involved in the point system, or at least that account holders cannot earn points in, we can set that to 0. Now, if I actually hover over the setting, there is a very informative tooltip here, and it is reading, "This is the base venue-wide points earned percentage. A product's price will be multiplied by this to get the points to be earned. The actual points earned by an account will also be determined by its points percentage set, and also the current points profile based on product type or product sort. All percentages are multiplied together to get the final percentage. Couldn't have said it better myself, so let me just go ahead and set that to 100% too. Next, we have another points redeem setting, the venue level points redeem percent, which can also be set to 0 if we would like to disallow points redemption in a particular venue. Now, similar to the point earn percentage, the percentage that's set here is going to be multiplied by a product's price to determine the points that are needed to in order to purchase the products, essentially with points. So if we've got this set to 100%, then a $10 product would require 10 points redeemed to be able to purchase that product. But if that's set maybe to 500%, that same $10 product would then require 50 points to cover its value. Now, I'm oversimplifying that a bit because, again, the other redemption settings will also factor in, but hopefully you get the idea there. Now, the final venue level point setting is this points redeem value. Now, this is very important to have set correctly because it sets the amount that a single point is worth when redeeming in the local currency, whatever the local currency is for you. So to put it another way, it is the monetary value that's assigned to one singular point. I had not mentioned this concept previously so that we could focus more on the points percentages up until now, but this value can play a big role in the overall point system. We can think of this like a foreign exchange rate, except we are converting points to the local currency. So if this is set to more than 1, then a single point is going to be worth more. So maybe a venue wants a single point to be worth $10, maybe $10 towards redemption, and in that case a $10 product could be purchased for 1 point, or 1 point could be redeemed for a $10 product. Again, of course, provided that the other redemption percentages are all at 100%. Conversely, if it's set to something less than 1, maybe if we've got it set to 50 cents, then a single point would have a lesser worth, and in that scenario 20 points would be needed to cover $10 in product value. But just a different way of configuring the system to achieve a result. We've got plenty of options. Just keep in mind that this can have a pretty big impact on an overall reward point system. If a venue would like to make their points, quote unquote, worth more or less than $1 or £1 or $1 dinero or one whichever. But for us, I will just set this to 1, and let me go ahead and reset the points redeem percentage here to 100% also. Cool, so that covers the venue level point settings. Next, we will look at the store level points redeem percent. There is only one setting at the store level, just the points level, or the store level points redeem percent. Just gives us some added flexibility within a venue. So if we want to have some stores set to a different redeem percent, we can, a different rate. Now, as with the venue setting, this can be set to 0 if we would like to prevent points redemption in a certain store. And similar to what I mentioned with the points earn settings that are multiplied together to get a final percentage, the same goes for points redeem rates. So if the venue points redeem rate percent is set to 100%, we could then set this at the store level to 200%. If we would like to double the number of points that are needed for redemption of products here in this store. Then maybe there's other stores in the venue that could use different points redeem rates to scale redemption values one way or the other in relation to the venue settings. But I will actually set that back to 100%. But yeah, that's it for all of our wonderful points configuration. So to summarize, we've got the points profiles, which sit at the global level, even though they're assigned to a till or to an account. And if they're assigned to an account, they will override whatever is set at the till. The rates that are set for sorts or types in the profile are what's going to be used as the starting point rates for us. Then separately at the account, venue, and store level, we can scale those base points profile rates up or down using the variety of percentage settings that we've got in all of those areas that we've just looked at. All right, let's get into some examples then now. For these examples, I mentioned this at the start, I did not want to get slowed down by going back and forth throughout the system and changing all the settings. So we will not be going through them live. I'd be doing an awful lot of clicking and changing things at all the different levels of all the different areas where we've got the percentage rates to set. But I do have, I should mention that I've got all these split into earn examples first and then redeem examples because yeah, even though both aspects are going to collectively form, the overall complete point system for us, they aren't actually directly linked to one another, and they can be demonstrated separately. It's probably more effective to show them separately actually. So we'll show some earn examples first. This first one, very simple. I've created two different points profiles that are assigned. We've got our BYOB 77 with its 77% percentage rates assigned for all of the product types, and we have that assigned at the till over here on the right. But for the account being used, BEPOS of course, they are actually going to be overriding that using this legacy accounts profile, which if we look right here, we've got all of the product types here set to 100%. So even though we've got one here set at the till level, we've got one set at the account level, which is going to override that. And therefore all of the products in the database are going to be using this points profile as the base rate. So in this case, everything is set to 100% then. In addition to this points profile being used, the venue level and the account level points earned settings, these rates are also set to 100%. Then we can see that when our favorite account holder here buys their favorite order of $100 worth of cheesecake in this venue and from this till, they are going to earn 100 points. Which by the way, we can see here in the little account section now, the points balance, so their current balance, including what is being earned in this transaction. I believe I mentioned in the last lesson that the points info would show here, but since we didn't have any points things set up yet, when we went through that accounts lesson, nothing was showing, but now it does. So we'll be able to see the points balance there, including the number of points that are being earned in this particular transaction. Cool. Moving on to points earned example 2. And I should mention that for the rest of these points earned examples, we won't worry about the tills points earned profile. We'll just be overriding with the account level points earned profile setting just to keep things streamlined here. So we'll just be worrying about whichever profile is set here at the account level. Now for this one, the venue and the account redeem percentages are still at 100%, but in this case, the account has been assigned this bonus points profile, which we can see here has all different percentages set for the product sorts in this case. So some of them are set to 0, some of them are as high as 300%, with some variances in there as well. So as I bring up a little GIF that'll play here, notice that as products are rung up in this transaction, different products that are added to the transaction, just notice the points that are being accrued up here. All of them are going to be different percentages based on the product's prices and based on the percentages that are set within the points profile. So starters are earning points at 2 times their price because they're set to 200% within the points profile, but mains are only earning 150%, and then desserts are earning 300%. So if I actually go back, we can just review those. We can see those there. Maybe pause the screen if you'd like to, or take a screenshot or something. And then if I go ahead and play that GIF again, we can see the rates as they accumulate up here in the points balance section of the account section. But yeah, you can see there that based on the points profile and having the different percentages set per product sort or type, that we will be able to actually accrue different points at different rates if we would like to set up something like that. Okay, next up, and for the rest of these points earn examples, we've got 5 altogether, so 3 more including this one. I am using a points profile here where all of the sort and type percentages are 100%, so that at the highest base level, all products are earning points at 100% of their price. That's this one here called Legacy Accounts, and we've got that set, in this case, to the account group that BYOB is in, and then we are using group settings there. But yeah, we'll be able to see what happens when we change the venue and the account level settings to tweak the point system from there. So for this example number 3, the venue's points earned percent is still at 100% also, but maybe there's a lower tiered account group here. We can see that BYOB is in account group tier 1C. So maybe they've been relegated to that there, where they aren't quite yet able to earn points at the best rate. Maybe, and that could be based on a number of things. I mentioned in the last lesson that we do have some scheduled jobs and things like that we can use to set up so that accounts can be moved from one account group to another. So we'll say something like that could have happened here. Regardless, BYOB is now in this account group where they're only earning points at a 50% rate. So, maybe they need to then work their way up to the next tier to get 75%, and then maybe to the next one to get 100%, and so on and so forth. But for our account holder here, who's in that lower tier and does have the use group settings flag turned on, so they are only earning at 50%, now they are only going to earn 50 points for that same $100 worth of cheesecake. But let's say there's an opposite scenario where an account group earns higher than 100%. So same as the last example for the points profile, and for the venue points earn, everything else is set to 100%. But now the account group, we're now onto tier 2. So BYOB is moving up here, and in this tier, they are earning points at 200%. Or to look at it another way, they are going to earn double points for all of their purchases. So here, for $100 worth of cheesecake, BYOB loves their cheesecake, they're going to earn 200 points. Now for a similar outcome, we could also opt to leave the accounts level percentage at 100%, and we could change the venue's earn percentage to 200%. As you have probably caught on from your time in this course already, there are oftentimes multiple ways to achieve a desired result, and BYOB is just a matter of what works best for your situation or for a customer situation. But anyway, for one final points earn example, what if both the venue and the account's points earn percentages are higher than 100%? So as we might expect, knowing that the percentages are going to multiply together, if the venue here is configured to 200% and the account is set up to earn, in this case, 300%, so maybe this is an extreme example here, but from a math perspective, 300% converted to a whole number is 3, 200% is 2, so 3 times 2 times the price of the product. In our example for BYOB and their mountain of cheesecake, they are now going to earn 600 points for that pile of cheesecake, costing them $100, just based on how the venue points earned percentage is set up and the earned points percentage at the account group level there, which is then again being handed down to our account holder. And again, the points earned system could be made even more complex and specialized by using a points profile with different percentages for sorts or types, and different points earn rates all throughout the system, but we're keeping things relatively straightforward here with a points profile that's got everything set to 100% and just kind of adjusting and tweaking these percentages here to be able to then scale that points profile up or down. Cool, so hopefully I've explained and demonstrated the concept of multiplying these percentages together. The same concept is used when redeeming points. So for this one, this is our first points redeem example. This first one is pretty basic here. All of the redeem percentages are set to 100%. The account level, the store level, the profile that's being used at the till level, and the account redeem percentage here also. So by the way, I should mention this, for all of these points redeem examples, we've got 5 of these as well. The account holder's redeem profile is set to 1 with everything at 100% too. So we've got that kind of hidden off to the side over here. But for all of these examples, we're using this default redeem profile with everything set to 100%, which is set for our store here that we're using in these examples, the main restaurant. That points profile is assigned there for our account holder. Our account holder in this case, we've got a new one called Pointy McPoints. Oh, I should mention also that at the till level, our redeem percentage has been set at the till level to that same points profile, but we don't actually need to worry about that at the till level since it is going to be overridden by the account level redeem points profile anyway. But yeah, like I said, for this one we've got a new account holder here, Pointy McPoints. And in our make-believe scenario here, just to use as an example, Pointy McPoints was just gifted 1,000 bonus points through a prize promotion. Now I know we haven't gotten to prize promotions yet, but we will later in the course. And yes, that is something that we can do with prize promotions, is we can give out points as a prize. And we can do that for a number of different what are called prize promotion types. But anyway, Pointy here just received 1,000 points. They want to start redeeming their bonus points straight away. And Pointy McPoints loves their Guinness. So much so that they buy $100 worth at a time. What are the odds? We're using $100 for our example again, to keep things simple, of course. And with the current points redeem setup, they will need exactly 100 points redeemed here to cover their $100 worth of Guinness jugs, which, by the way, a couple of notes I will point out regarding redeeming points. Firstly, that we can redeem points on a transaction using a couple of different till functions, but we will get to those just a bit later. We'll cover the different options that we've got for redeeming points from SmartPOS. And we are able to then report on the points that were redeemed in the transaction using the account summary detail report and then looking at a specific transaction. So again, in this case, I've used, we'll go through these later, but I've used this item use points till function here, and we can see the points that were redeemed there in the transaction window. We can also see it in the account section there. Once we do that, the workflow here is we're then prompted with a message saying the transaction has been fully paid for, in this case because I used this option here for item use points and then selected to redeem for all 10 items in this case. So that's what we've got going on up here because the balance has then been brought to 0, whereas if we like to finalize the transaction, I've selected yes, nice and simple. And then, like I said, from back office, we can report on that transaction. We can see exactly that is what has gone on there. But yeah, if we'd like to then report on the points that were redeemed per transaction, we can do so in the account summary detail and then look at that exact transaction. Cool. Now here in example 2, again, the account level redeem points profile is the same with everything set to 100%. And the venue and the store level redeem percentages are still 100% here. But now we're trying to get Pointy McPoints to run through their stash of points faster. So we've upped the individual points redeem percentage rate here to 500%. Sorry, Pointy. But now, simple math here, 100% times 100% times 500% means that Pointy needs to redeem 500 points to cover that same $100 Guinness tab. So same product, same amount, same dollar value assigned to those products. But in this case, because of how things are set up here with the account level redeem rate being set to 500%, it's now going to require 500 points to redeem for that. Cool. Another quick example, if they're all over 100%, let's say we've got 200% for the venue, 200% for the store, still 500% for the account here. Multiplying those percentages together is going to give us 2,000% or 20 times the product price. So in this case, Pointy's Guinness, their $100 worth of Guinness, required 2,000 points to be redeemed. Yes, I did have to gift Pointy a few thousand extra bonus points here to continue with this example. We can actually see that transaction in the next lineup where Pointy earned 3,000 points so that I could then continue with this example. But yeah, we can see the effects of having all these different redeem percentages being set to a higher rate. And don't worry, for all the mathematicians out there, the reverse is true too. If some of the redeem percentages are under 100%, fewer points would be needed for redemption. So this one's probably an extreme example with a venue, store, and the account holders redeem percentages all being under 100%, but still just simple multiplication of percentages here. Again, the redeem points profile, which sits at the global level and sets the initial rates per sort or type. Hadn't mentioned that for a couple minutes, but those are all set to 100% here for the redeem profile. But then for the venue, we've got 80% set there for that rate converted to a whole number. That's going to be 0.8. 90% at the store level becomes 0.9. 50% at the account level becomes 0.5. And if we remember back to primary school math, when numbers less than 1 are multiplied together, the end result is just going to keep decreasing. You can take out a calculator if you'd like to and multiply 0.8 times 0.9 times 0.5, and you can see that happening. But what that means is that the points redeem amount is going to decrease as we consider each additional redeem percentage that is under 100%. In this case, Pointy is only going to need 36 points to redeem for this round of Guinness. Again, $100 worth of Guinness, but in this case only 36 points needed to redeem them. One final example, if the points redeem percentages are a combination of all different percentages greater than, equal to, less than 100%, again, they'll just multiply together to give us our final redeem percentage for a particular transaction. Once again, the redeem points profile is the same one with everything at 100%, but yeah, there could be instances like this one where the end result is going to be 100%, even though the venue is set to 200%, the account is set to 50%, the store is still set to 100% here. But yeah, 50% of 200 is going to be 100, and then factoring in the store redeem percentage of 100%, we are still going to be at 100 points needed to redeem for Pointy's $100 of Guinness in this example. I guess the point that I'm trying to make with this relatively straightforward example here, if I go back to that, is that if someone were only looking at the venue level setting or only the account level setting, they might be confused or misled, which is why, as we now know, all three of these points redeem percentages need to be considered, as well as, of course, the points redeem profile being used and whether that's been set at the till level or at the account level for the store. But yeah, you just need to keep in mind that all those things do factor in together. Cool, so now we've got a good idea of how all of these points earn and redeem settings can be sort of manipulated and configured to create some sophisticated and customized points programs. Even though, yes, some of these examples were a bit basic and some were more on the extreme side, simply to demonstrate their effect, we can see how the percentages can be scaled, one way or the other to increase or decrease the perceived and actual, quote unquote value of points within the system. Cool, so we will quickly finish up with a few other points to run through then. And first up is going to be what's called our weekly schedule, which can be found in the operational setup menu. And so if I scroll down, weekly schedule. This, I know we haven't gone through this yet, but this can be used to schedule changes for a handful of things that we can see up here, handful of things in the system, including tills earn points profiles. So we will get more into the weekly schedule later in the course, and we'll cover the other things that it can do. But if I go to add a new event now, we can see quickly how this works. We would select the till or tills and then set the day and time for the event to take place. Then we've got this option down here where we can select a points profile that we'd like to change it to, and then we can kind of set that and forget it. Any scheduled changes will temporarily override the default settings that are actually set at the till level. So if maybe there's, we've got the till level default points earn profile that's normally set to a particular points profile, but maybe there's an evening that a certain product sort needs to earn triple points or something like that, we can set that up temporarily. By the way, I should mention the defaults will be reactivated at midnight each Sunday to revert back from any event that has been set during the week, which means that if we've got one set here, a separate event would then only need to be scheduled if the defaults need to be reset prior to midnight. But if we've got a weekly schedule set and then we just let things go and let the system go on its own, when that date and time rolls around, the event that's been scheduled takes place. In this example, points change would be applied. Then Sunday at midnight, that's going to revert back to the till's default points profile. Cool, let me close out of here and I'll go to operator privileges, something else that we have not considered yet today, but very much needed for redeeming points at the till are our privilege flags here for redeeming points for products, and then separate flag for redeeming points for cash. Now these are separate privileges in case a venue or in case the organization wants to let some operators do both but prevent other operators from doing one or the other. So for example, redeeming points for cash might be a function that only select operators can perform. Maybe only management or something like that can redeem points for cash. Cool, close out of that. We'll actually go back to the till settings. There is a very important flag that needs to be on the flags tab. I actually can't believe that I've skipped over this, but very, very important. For any till where points will be redeemed, we do need to have this redeem points flag turned on, so very important that that is set. And speaking of redeeming points at a till, there are a handful of till functions, as I mentioned earlier, that we can use to do so, to actually be able to redeem points at the till, which I mentioned these when we were looking at the example of redeeming points in SmartPOS. I should preface this that as with other till functions and till function panels, your system's function maps will most likely be different than what I've got here. But for me, on this main dining override map here, I have an account panel that's got some a group of a bunch of till functions that are assigned here that are on this panel that can be used for redeeming points. So the first function that I've got is one that I had mentioned earlier, is this item use points, and this can be used to redeem points for single items within a sale. We can actually see here redeem points for the current highlighted product in the transaction. So that's what I had used in the example that I had shown earlier. We do have another one here called sale use points, and that can be used for exactly that, to redeem points for all of the products within a transaction. Or as many as possible. Now for both of those options, the sale use points and the item use points, we do have the ability to turn on a partial redeem. What that means is that if the account holder does not have enough points accrued to cover what's required, they can use whatever points they do have to cover the equivalent dollar value, and then, or the equivalent monetary value, I should say. Maybe you live in an area where dollars aren't used, I should say monetary value. But then they can pay the remaining balance using another payment option. So we could turn on partial redeem if we would partial redeem okay, if that is okay. Also, for both of those points redeem options there, we do have some counteracting till functions that can clear a points redemption from a transaction before it is finalized. We've got sale clear points, so we can see right there, clear any points redemption for all the products in a transaction, again provided that the transaction has not been finalized. And we've got item clear points, which is the reverse function for that there. We also have an option for redeeming points for cash, so redeem points for cash value. Again, this is going to be one that might be limited to certain operators. Well, we can see a few different options here that we can set within the item field there. And lastly, we have the ability to redeem points for a voucher by either linking a voucher ID or allowing the operator to select from a list. So those are the different options that we can set in the item field there. But yeah, those are our redeem points till functions options that we've got. All right, just a couple more things before we finish up. I know that this lesson is a bit on the longer side again, but just bear with me for a couple more minutes. Promise you we're almost done. Some other ways to accrue points aside from earning them through purchases, so I believe I mentioned this or alluded to it earlier, is that how Pointy McPoints got all their points to redeem for their Guinnesses, is that points can be given out to accounts as a reward for a prize promotion. I did mention this. So these are the ones that I use to gift Pointy their points, and like I said, we'll get more into detail with prize promotions another time, but points could be given out as a prize for most prize promotion types. If I open that up, you can see the different prize promotion types that we've got, but again, we'll get into that another time. But yeah, as long as an account is attached to the transaction and we've got a promotion type, or sorry, a promotion setup that can award points, the account will be able to be rewarded points. Now, in this example, this also happens to be a points promotion type. So in this one, for every 100 points earned, an account is being awarded 3,000 additional points. So that's very generous of us here. But yeah, setting up something similar to this, but maybe not as extreme, could be another way to run, a double or triple points promotion type of thing. In this case, 30 times promotion type of thing. Come in and earn yourself 100 points and we'll give you an extra 3,000. Yeah, a lot of some other settings here that we'll run through another time. And yeah, another way that accounts can earn points is through the memberships component, where members can receive points when they are joining and renewing memberships, but we will get into that when we cover memberships. We've got a lesson coming up that we'll go through memberships and membership renewals. I'll just cancel out of that. And finally, for product price promotions, I'll just open one here. For price promotions and for voucher promotions, there are a number of points options to consider when we are adding products to them. So yeah, of course, aside from setting any discounts to be applied when the promotion is active, we can also set it, or we don't need to actually set a discount here. We could just implement these point settings here, but we can set them so that accounts will earn points when a matching product is purchased. So we would just need to turn on this use points earn flag here and then enter the amount of points to be earned in the field below that. We can also override any standard points redeem amount by turning on the use points redeem flag here and then setting the amount of points that will instead be required to redeem for a matching product when the promotion is active. So let's say that based on the normal point redeem percentages, everything that's been set up, a product would need 100 points to be redeemed for it, or 100 points would need to be redeemed to purchase that product. Essentially, we could have a promotion where that product can be redeemed for 50 points instead. Conversely, we could set the redeem not allowed flag on if we would like to prevent a product from being redeemed for points during an active promotion, or when that particular promotion is active, I should say. Okay, cancel out of that, cancel out of that. Alright, that will be a wrap for this lesson. Just about everything points and points profile related, at least the most important configurations and options that would be involved for a point system. You can see that there's certainly no shortage of options for customizing a point system, from specific points earned and needed for redemption for specific product sorts and types, to then being able to scale those rates per account, venue, and store if needed, and then how we can actually redeem those points from the till, and then a couple different ways that we have for actually being able to accrue points also. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.